Lego Fortnite was kind of a flop. But with this collab, they actually made real sets for Fortnite in Lego. So today I'm going to be building Fortnite in Lego. Or am I actually building Lego Fortnite in Lego? You know, because they have the game mode Lego Fortnite, but there's also a real Fortnite, and I'm making it. Salty Springs was one of the most popular places when the game first came out, and it is still probably one of the most iconic places from the game. So I decided to build this house from Salty Springs. So I started by building this diorama looking base, and then I began working on the floor. I have the outline of the house and the rooms laid out so far, and then I got all the pieces that I needed and I built the front yard, and now the entire base and flooring is done, so it was time to start building up all the walls. So I started by building the sides and the back walls, and in the back of the house it has this broken wall, which is part of the house in the game, but it's kind of hard to replicate in Lego, but I think it turned out okay. And then I finished by putting the last few walls in the front of the house, and now it's time to start working on the inside of the house. So I first put the walls in the kitchen, and the only other room in the house is this bedroom in the back, so I just put up the walls for that, and now all the walls for all the different rooms inside of the house are done. Next, I actually need to fill the house with furniture, so I first started by building this simple little bed, and then I put it in the bedroom, and technically in the house there is more in the bedroom, but I can't fit any more in there, so there's just gonna be the bed. Next, I added cabinets in the kitchen, and then I put a small little table in this little part of the house, which in the actual game there are seats in that area, but I literally can't fit anything else over there, and even if I could, they'd be too big, so I couldn't do anything else. And one of the last things I put in the house was a shelf, and then I finished it off by putting a fireplace in. After that, I built up the two sidewalls for the roof, and then I put the front one in. But before I actually built the roof, I need to finish the yard. So I started by building this terrible doghouse, but I had enough fence pieces, but I was having trouble actually making it, because the fence was one stud too long and I couldn't shorten it, and I wanted to make it symmetrical, so I ended up just making this, and I think it works. It looks a little weird, but I think it works. Now I actually built the roof, and these are probably the most fragile things on the planet. But first I put the big one on, and then I put the little small one on. After that, I finished off the chimney and I put it on the house, and the house is basically complete now. All it's missing is figures. So to get the Fortnite figures, I went out and bought the Battle Bus set, which is a fantastic set and probably the best Fortnite set out of all of them. But I grabbed Jonesy because he's a default and he reminds me a lot of early Fortnite. And then I also grabbed the Cuddle Team Leader. I first put Jonesy on the build, and then the other figure, and now the build is officially complete. And for the first build, I wanted to base it off of Chapter 1, and I really wanted to try my best to make it nostalgic, but I feel like you can't really make a Lego build nostalgic, so I think the best way around it was to make something specific. And what I mean by that is I didn't just choose this house or Salty Springs for no reason. I actually chose this house because I think this is a video that really encapsulates how it used to feel to win a game of Fortnite.
Maxie's down, behind you, behind you! No! Go! Hit it for 150!
Panic shopping. It's happening all over the country. Suddenly, basics are running off the shelves.
The deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S. Here's what we know.
For the past 24 hours, there have been more than 34,000 new cases reported in the U.S. and more than 750 deaths.
On Monday in China, it suffered its highest number of deaths in one day. 103 people died just in Hubei province alone. The overall death toll in China is now over 1,000.
Back in 2020, COVID-19 caused the entire world to stop. People couldn't go to work, and basically every kid was stuck at home. And around that time, Chapter 2 Season 2 came out, and with everyone being at home, it was an insanely popular season. It was also a relatively good season out of Chapter 2, and with the circumstances of being stuck at home, I would say that Chapter 2 Season 2 is looked at very fondly nowadays. And with the new Fortnite Battle Bus set having Meowscles, I want to build something for him. Now, my original intention was to build the yacht from Season 2, but I just do not have enough parts to build that. So even though it's not from Season 2, I'm going to build a part of Catty Corner from Season 3. And from Catty Corner, and it's technically the robot Meowscles, but they haven't made that, so I'm just going to use the normal one. So I started off by building this base, and then I got all the tile pieces and the green plate pieces that I needed, and then I planned out where everything was going to go, and I built the rest of the base. Now the first thing I built was the vault, and technically it's like a light green, but I don't have enough of those pieces to make that, so I just changed the bottom shipping container to gray. And I wasn't able to make the vault door actually openable, but I built this tiny little door, and I have this piece that hangs on the inside, but I forgot what they're called, but it stops the door from falling on the inside, and it keeps it kind of secure, but the door technically doesn't open properly. If you want to count that as a door, then yes, it opens, but it doesn't open the way that it does in the game. Now I put the shipping container on the build, and then I got 2 chests and built a supply drop. I also got those 3 things and put them in the build, and that finished off the vault. Now the second crate, I was actually able to make the accurate color, and each side has one door that's missing because that's accurate to the game, and the shipping crate is completely empty, but now it's time to put it on top of the other one, and I made it easily removable by making it mainly tile on the vault and putting these brick pieces so it's easy to remove. Now in front of the vault, it has whatever you call this, so I quickly built that in Lego, and it has some fencing on on it, and then it has the open door for the second container. Now in Fortnite, it has these stairs that go up, which were insanely tricky to build in Lego, and it's extremely fragile, but I put that on the build. And then I built the top of the second crate with a little overhang that connects to the stairs, and I put all that together, which made the stairs a lot sturdier. And now before I finish off the top of the crate, I'm actually going to finish the flooring of the build. So under the stairs, I put this wood in some crates, and then on the back side of the vault, I put this crate with some wood on top of it, and then next to it, I put the broken door from the second shipping container. And now for the top of the build, I put some fencing on it, and then I put a bunch of wood because it has a bunch of wood on the top of it in the game. And I also put this little blue barrel that's in the game. After that, the build for Catty Corner is complete, and now it is time for the figures. So I first put the Pilly skin in there, and I have him with his builds out. And then I put the Meowscles in the middle of the build, and he's shooting at the next character, which is the Drift skin. And then on the top of the build, I have the Bright Bomber farming for mats. And after that, the build for Chapter 2 Season 2 is complete, or technically Chapter 2 Season 3. And even though most people hate Chapter 2 and most of Chapter 2 is pretty bad, this is a season that is looked back on very fondly, even if it took place during a hard time. After a few years of poorly received seasons and chapters, we got OG Fortnite, which was one of the most popular seasons of the game ever. It brought all eyes back on the game, and it was one of the best seasons ever. So for OG Fortnite, I'm going to be doing the clock tower from Tilted Towers, and I started off with this base. Then I planned where I was going to put everything, and I built the flooring for the base. After that, I started building up the walls, and the door is the wrong color, but I don't have a gray door. And then I built the walls up some more. After that, I built this overhang piece that it has, and then I put it on the build. After that, I built the majority of the tower, and at the top, I have these pieces on each side for the clocks. And I know the build's kind of messy, but I couldn't make it just all 10. I don't have enough pieces. I then built another one of those little overhang pieces or ledge pieces, and then I put that on the build. After that, I built all 4 clocks, and I'm not gonna lie, I hate the clocks. I wanted to use this piece, but I only had 3 of them, and I came into that brown border because all the ideas I had, I didn't have enough brown pieces for it. So the clocks kind of suck, but I can't really do anything about it. Now for the top of the clock tower, I had none of the arch pieces that I needed for this build, so I had to just make something up, and honestly, I hate how this looks. It's not really an arch, but I literally have no arch pieces, but I put that on the build, and then a pillar on it for the roof. I then built the plates for the roof, and they all have these little hinge pieces in the back to connect, and then I put them on the build. I then built these 4 bushes and put them on the flooring of the build, and now the clock tower was complete and it was time for the figures. So first I put Jonesy on the top of the clock tower, and then I put the Cuddle Team Leader on the floor of the build, and he's shooting at Raven who's running from him. And then I have Drift on the opposite side of the build who's drinking a big pot. And honestly, I kind of hate this build. It's definitely the worst out of the 3. I just didn't have a lot of the parts that I needed to actually make this look how I wanted it to look. But either way, I've now built all 3 builds for Fortnite, and building all this and looking at all the old Fortnite clips has reminded me how fun this game used to be. And I know a lot of the newer seasons kind of suck, and most people don't like them, but making all this has reminded me that sometimes what actually makes the game fun is just playing with friends.
Jump! Jump!
Might as well go all the way.
Chris.
No, we're not.
Run, Chris. Hold on.
His teammate's dead. Hey, I just knocked someone. I've already killed this. This is my 3rd time killing the same kid, where you could only respawn 3 times. That's the same kid I just killed. Oh my gosh, I can't see anything.